I've defined this as the golden age, meaning that it's a period when there are no real shortages. We don't have a shortage of goods. There's enough stuff. There's enough money. There's enough materials. There's enough metal in the ground, etc. There's enough stuff. What we don't have is systems that are designed correctly to put the right stuff where it needs to be. So we're in a design phase where everything that needs to be fixed is a question of design. Trying to solve it would look like this. There's a test going on in this town. There's a different test going on in this town. There's a different test going on in this town. We're watching those 3 tests very closely. We're tracking stuff. And then when we find out which one works, we'll take that one and run it. And if we think of something that might even be better, we'll test that too. If you ever hear something like that going on, that means that you've decided to solve the problem. I have a frame suggestion. Instead of calling it a homeless problem, which I think gets us down the wrong track, and by the way, we'll talk about Gavin Newsom and the president's words with each other in a bit. I would prefer to reframe this, and I'm just going to throw this out as a suggestion. We're in the brainstorming category, so I make no claim that the following suggestion will be productive. It'll just make you think differently than you were. Rather than saying we have a homeless problem or that it's a mental health or even a drug addiction problem, I wonder if you could define people as indoor people versus outdoor people. Indoor people versus outdoor people. The indoor people would be people who want to be indoors. Now, if they can't get indoors but they want to, well, let's see if we can help them. What's that take? If your only problem is you don't have a drug problem, you don't have a mental problem, your only problem is that you wish you lived indoors and you're outdoors, that's one set of solutions. What do you do for that person? And in fact, I talked about this. One of the solutions was people are literally sleeping in their cars, but in parking lots that have a security guard and it's for that purpose, and they have some kind of public restroom facility. For those people who just have a money problem, and it might be temporary because they have jobs, so they're working through their temporary money problem, maybe that's some kind of solution like that, where it's not really outdoors, but it's not quite indoors. But there must be, it seems to me, that let's call them the outdoor people, the people who wouldn't go indoors even if you gave them the opportunity. Is there a way to keep them outdoors, but much, much more comfortable, much safer, in a way that they're less likely to die? It's just a question. Could you literally make it more of a tent situation? Could you take advantage of, somebody suggested this the other day, of using, let's say, broken or obsolete campers, ones that are not good enough to be on the road anymore, but maybe they're good as a shelter. You put them in some kind of outdoor campsite. So I'm just going to brainstorm, and I think that there might be a place in some situations, not every situation, where improving the outdoor life and getting them off the public street, get them to something that has something like a bathroom facility, however rudimentary it is that better? I don't know. Does that get you anything, or does it make people want to go live there? I don't think you'd want to live there. I don't think anybody would say, hey, give me some outdoor life so I can live with the drug addicts and the mentally unstable people. I mean, nobody's going to choose it, but it might be better. Now, the other thing that has to be talked about, and Dr. Drew brings this up the most, is the laws do not allow you to involuntarily control somebody. So if somebody's an adult and they're not breaking a specific law that's the kind you get arrested for, you can't make them leave the street, apparently. There's nothing you can do. If somebody's crazy and dangerous to themselves, there's not much you can do. You just leave them there until they die. I think Dr. Drew said there was something like 1,000 homeless people died just being, outdoors in dangerous situations of various types. So the conversation that has to happen, and you're going to see it in 2020, looks like this. What moral responsibility does the government have regarding the people who are outside and really can't take care of themselves in a safe way? do we have a moral responsibility to step in, take control of them physically, and say you can't be on the street, you must be in this facility, you must take this treatment, you must take this, maybe in some cases pills, if they have mental illness that could be helped by medication. So that is a question which I think is going to be a big, big 2020 question. And I'll help Dr. Drew magnify that. Maybe some of you will. And I don't know that I have the answer. It could be that the country looks at it, wrestles with it, has a moral, a real moral contest, if you will, pro and con. And at the end of it, it could be that we say, freedom is actually that important that we'll let 1,000 people a day die in the street or whatever it is, whatever the number becomes, because it's better than involuntary incarceration for things that normally would not be. So I think the conversation has to happen. It has to happen by responsible people who mean well. And 2020, that's going to happen.